Yeah, you know, it all started. My mom and dad got married in Holland. Mm. They uh, they moved to Canada. We moved to a little town called Sept-Îles, Quebec, and in northern Quebec. And there they had 5 children. And they had my older sister Joyce, then they had my sister Debbie, who was Down syndrome, and a lovely girl. And then I was born. And then 2 years later, my brother Mark was born, and he is brain damaged because he was premature birth and there was too much oxygen in the incubator. And then 6 years later, there was my baby sister. So here was a family with great need, you know, a lot of attention to the kids and everything. And so I kind of fell into the role of, I'm good. Look after them, you know. And from that, a lot of horrible things happened, like because I started buying into a lie that I was unworthy, unnecessary, unlovable. Even though these were all things that I put on myself, I became an evidence seeker. I need evidence to, you know, to show me that this lie was true. So my whole life was seeking this evidence that I was not worthy. And, you know, I wore it like it was a warm coat, and I almost embraced it. And so there I went on my life, and never feeling good about who I was or what and I don't know how, but I ended up with some really good friends, and that have stuck by me, even in all my craziness. There's my granddaughter just waving. I love you, Summer. But they stuck with me with all my craziness. But you know, never did I feel right inside. And I started drinking at a very young age, and it just settled everything in me. I just made me feel okay. I could handle all the unlovable, unworthy feelings I had because now it didn't matter. And so I quite liked that, and I kind of did that as often as I could because it made me not feel. And you know, relationships, for sure, I'd got to get in the worst relationships because it was another evidence, once again, that I am not worthy. So, you know, I did this for far too many years. And when I was 16 years old, I became pregnant. And when you are raised by 2 Roman Catholic, practicing Roman Catholics, they went to Mass every day. And their daughter, at 16 years old, comes up pregnant, is not very good. So, you know, again, unworthy. Even, but so they told me that I would need to give up my son for adoption, that there was just no way that we could raise him. So at 16 years old, I did what I was told, and I had my baby, and I gave him for adoption. Well, not really, because he also is Down syndrome, and because it's a genetic thing. And so here I was giving up this baby, and everybody would think I'm doing it because he's not perfect, and he's my son, and he is perfect, and you know, but I have to do it. My parents told me I had to do it, so I did it. And from that moment on, I was the childless mother. You know, I had a mother's heart, and I wanted to raise him, and every single day I missed that boy. And but there's a really good end to that story, which I'll tell you in a little bit. But so here I went on my way, and more stupid relationships, and I moved to northern Alberta because, you know, that was going to be the answer to everything. And I just drank an awful lot, way more than all my friends. I couldn't manage my money. I had a way better job. I worked for Canada Post. They had little retail jobs of my friends. They could pay the rent. Could I? No. No. You know, I like to say because I was buying too many drinks. Not true. Not true. I just drank too much. And then one fine day, I met the love of my life. Well, I thought he was. Yeah, and we had a really explosive relationship. It was not always very good. But one day he asked me to marry him. And I said, what? When? And he said, Saturday. I said, okay. You know, I'm in. So I did. I married him, and I became a Mah. And and so there, I had flirted with a lot of drugs before that, but from there, my real journey with drugs started, because he was a drug addict. But I was just going to love him a little bit more, and I was going to fix him. I was going to fix him. But as that evidence will show you, that this was not a good thing. But it just fed into that. Well, I deserve this. Don't remember, you're unworthy. And so I just hung in there, and two very good things came out of that. I had 2 children with him, my son Dana and my son Nicky, who's here tonight or today. And we just, he was an alcoholic. He was a drug addict. He was an abuser. But I will just love him more, and it will fix things. And it never did. I tried to leave him many times, but it was very unsuccessful, because I had no self-esteem, no self-worth. How do you do that? How do you do that? So he made it really easy for me. One day he told me that I could leave, and that was good. So I did, and he moved back to Alberta, and I continued my ridiculous journey in North Vancouver. And so there I was, and alone again. And I can't be alone. That just makes me have to be accountable. And I didn't like accountability. I just needed to be looked after, I think. I don't know. So, here I go, and my picker's broken, and I'm looking for a new one, And, you, because I can't be alone. And so I met this fellow, and he ended up being a dream. He was an absolute amazing man with a great heart, and he was caring and loving, and things were really good. But you know what? He was a drug addict. And so there our journey continued, and it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse. But he loved me through it all, so I'm doing good, right? Until one day when he came home. Can I tell this story?
Yeah.
One day he came home, and he was messed up. I hadn't seen him in a couple of days, and I'd never seen this man that messed up to the point he was. And I thought, you're crazy. And he was embarrassed. I was embarrassed of him and everything. And he came home, and he announced that let's do some down. Because we were, at this point, we had progressed to heroin. I said, well, you want to do what? Because he was ridiculously messed up. But I'm going to save the day, and I will look after this. He knew where it was, and I was concerned he was going to go and mix himself up a lethal dose or something, right? So I mixed 2 up, one for him, which was about a third of what I usually did, and one for me. I did mine first. It was nothing special, just our regular stuff, right? And then he's so messed up, I had to inject him with his dose. And he stumbled around for a while, and I thought, oh, God, there you go. And I decided to go and do the laundry, so I went downstairs to another building, actually, in the complex we lived in, and to start our laundry, and I realized I'd forgotten the bleach. So upstairs I go, and then he's in a chair with his knees up, his head down, and I thought, thank God he's sleeping. Thank God, because I've had enough of him. He'd only been home 10 minutes, but I'd had enough. And I went back downstairs to finish putting the laundry in, came up, cleaned the kitchen, looked over at him, and realized he wasn't sleeping. He was dead. Yeah. And so here this man who had been really good to me, but enabled my addiction, let's face it, he was gone. And so now, all these horrible things I'd ever thought about myself, I had to add murderer. I didn't murder him, but in my heart, I'd killed him. And so if I had any kind of self-esteem, any kind of self-worth, it was gone that instant. And so I had 2 kids, and I fell, if it's possible, heavier into my addiction. But I'm alone. And there goes the picker again. I can't be alone. The appropriate 2 weeks grieving time went by. No. It was a little more than that. It was a few months, but it was still pretty early. And the picker came out again, and just boom, there he was. This fellow from, he was living in Kelowna, single father. Oh, all these things. You know, we had so much in common. And yeah, so I ended up moving up here. And oh, that was, yeah. He was absolutely not the man that he had portrayed to be. However, I don't think I was a woman that he, you know, like, yeah. So he was an alcoholic. By that time, I had kind of said goodbye to alcohol a little bit, but it was still there. My alcoholism was in full bloom, trust me. But I was doing a lot of heroin. I was on the methadone program, oh, Nikki, you're gonna hate me. I was on the methadone program, and it required that you had to give a urine sample every week. Well, how was I going to do that? Well, I had a daughter who didn't use, so every week I would have her pee in a jar, and I would pour a little methadone in it so that it would pass the screening test. Who knew that you didn't have to drink it, that it would somehow work out that way? But it did, so it worked once, so it'll work for 14 years, right? Right? And it did. So here I was on methadone, using heroin every day, and now I found crack cocaine. You know, it's fun. When you don't feel good about yourself, it takes you into a different place. So here my body didn't know if it was up, down, all around, and I stayed there for a long time. And trust me, with that, there's a lot of evidence seeking of the unworthiness, you know, because I sucked into that self-pity, you know. In my recovery, we talk about it so much that I was in self, right? Self-loathing, self-pity, self-everything. And but it was a place that I enjoyed to be. I think I like to be the victim, and so I'm going to stay here. And a lot of things happened with my kids. You know, my son never had a good male role model. All the pickers that I picked, you know, I would keep them for a long, long time. A long, long time. You know, my husband had, well, just before Tim died, actually just before they overdosed, my husband, who I wasn't with him for the last 8 years of his life, but he died of brain cancer, and then Tim died, how many months later? 5 months? 5 months later, Tim overdosed, and then I met Ray and I moved up here. But just like I had all these losses, and actually Ray's dead too. We were together 14 years, so you know, I just figured that that was, I deserved that, you know. It was the way it was, and it took me to the streets where I found a lot of companionship. I found the family that I thought that you know, my kids didn't understand me. I'd given up on my kids. You know, here was a woman that was a childless mother for all those years, and I had my children, and they didn't mean enough. It wasn't enough. And it crushes me today to even think that, but, you know, I gave up, and they were placed with the ministry. Well, because my daughter, my brave, brave daughter, went to them and said, "My mother's a mess, please help me." And you know, and thank God she did that. Thank God that she had the strength to do that, to look after herself, because I certainly couldn't. And but you know what that did was give me more time for my addiction. So there went, you know, my street life began, and I was there for a long, long time. I went to jail many times, not for overnight. I'd go to the coast because I'm a trafficker. I was a trafficker, and I dealt a lot of drugs, and they were done with me. So they would actually target me, and they'd have undercovers come in, and I'd happily sell them drugs. And always get caught, and I'd go to jail. And, you know, I get it today that they used to say, "Is it time for us to rescue you again?" The RCMP would say that, and I'd say, "Absolutely not. I'm not going," because I didn't want to give up my drugs, right? But now I see it, that it was a rescue every single time. I came out every time, and I did the same thing. The cycle went on and on and on. I'd like to say it happened 2 or 3 times. No, a dozen, maybe more. But you know, every time I went into jail, it saved me just a little bit because I got to sleep. I got to eat. I got to be drug-free for whatever it was, 6 months or 3 months or a year. And but I never stopped thinking about the dope. I never stopped thinking about who missed me. I mean, goodness, they've just gone 6 months without Wendy Mah on the streets. How they make, like, nobody missed me. Nobody even knew that I was, but anyways, yeah, but so, but it kept me alive, you know, it gave my body a break, because I did drugs and alcohol for a very, very long time, and it takes this toll on you, which is a whole other story. In my recovery, I've had to deal with a lot of major physical things, but I'm happy to say that I'm pretty healthy today, which is God's grace, right? But anyways, I'm going to take you back to July 11th, July 11th, 2012, my very last arrest with the RCMP. And I'm now, so I guess it would have been July 13th, I'm in the sheriff's van going to the coast to go to jail, to ACCW, Alouette Correctional Center for Women, my second home. And yeah, so I'm shackled and handcuffed in the back of the sheriff's van, and I've been separated from heroin, from crack, from alcohol, from my people on the street. Hi, sorry. And I just didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I didn't think that it was possible to do it. I believed that heroin was like air. I needed it. I needed it to breathe. If I didn't have it, I would die. So I'm in the back of the sheriff's van, and I'm telling you, it's not pretty. Withdrawing from heroin is horrible. I was puking green bile. I was doing all sorts of other lovely bodily functions that were just occurring. I had no control over it. And I just wanted to die. That moment, I just wanted to die. I didn't know how I was going to live through this. I didn't know if I wanted to. And so I remember that it was, I don't know, that people always talk about that God will help you. Well, I just prayed. In that moment, I prayed and I asked God just to do it, just to get the van, crash the van, get it down to the Fraser River, because we were following it in a little window with the bars. I could see the Fraser River, and I just wanted to die. So just get me down there. I'll do the drowning. Just pull off your end of it. And he did not do it. But you know, but you know what he did? He killed that desire for that life. I am now in ACCW, where I've never had a bad time. It's a little family reunion. Everything's great. And I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. I'm not talking with anybody. I'm sitting in my cell all by myself, and they're going, "What is wrong?" And I'm going, "I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, something changed, right?" And that went on for 3 weeks, and then I got a phone call from my lawyer, and he said, "So, we have a bail hearing coming up." And I'm going, "A bail hearing?" I don't comply with anything the judge has ever asked me to do. So, like, I never get bail. That's usually a little bit of laughter in the courtroom, and yeah. Never mind. And I said, "Oh, a bail hearing." He goes, "Yeah, do you have a plan?" Maybe. And I remembered those two ladies sitting here tonight. They used to come to me on the street. "Can we help you?" And I would, "No." Like, "What do you want to help me? I'm good." And, you know, and so I remember they always wanted to help me, so I phoned them up with all the attitude in the world. "What the fuck is it that you can do for me? Because I need some help." Remember, Ange? Yeah. Anyway, so they said, "Well, we'll go to the judge and we'll tell him we have a bed for you in our recovery house." I said, "What? This is Wendy, right? You know that you're talking to Wendy?" "Yes." And I said, "Okay." So I phoned my lawyer back and I said, "I have a plan." He goes, "That is amazing, because I've never had a plan in my life, if I ever had a plan." And so anyways, the judge granted me bail, and off I came to the House of Hope. There was where that word hope comes from. And I was under 24-hour house arrest, but I was going to make it work. And I had two amazing women who believed in me. They believed in me. And I'm going to tell you, there was a little bit of shenanigans in the first... Yeah, on my part, not theirs. So, yeah, there was a little bit of shenanigans. I arrived there August 1st, 2012. My sobriety date is August 18th, 2012. I'm happy to say I am over 6 years clean and sober. And, you know, it's because of these women. And, you know, just after that time in the van when I asked God to help me, you know, I began seeking evidence of my worth. Maybe I am worthy. Maybe I am worthy. And those two women right there showed me how worthy I was. And I've had countless others. You know, I'm still in my recovery journey. I'll never stop. But I went from a year living with them. Then I moved to Harmony House, which is a faith-based recovery center. And I thought I'd better learn a little bit about this God that helped me so much, right? Like, every time I'd ever asked him for anything, he helped me. Because as a little girl, I used to do it, and he helped me. And so I've been seeking God's help. And I just know that it's his grace that let me live through all the horrible, horrible things. Like, I haven't even touched on the things that I've seen, the things that I've done. You know, would I do them today? Not a chance. But I did. And so today I get to share my experience, strength, and hope. My good friend Angie, she always says, you know, your life is still going to be your life. And it's on like a book on a shelf. And you can take it down and open it up and share it with others to give them some hope, right? And
it isn't a book, no.
It isn't a book. You know, so it's just an honor to be here. It's an honor to be in this book. And just everybody in this room, everybody in the world is worthy. And when you get to that place that you don't think you deserve, just seek some evidence of the opposite thing. So thank you very much.